Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Marvel vs. Capcom. Say it with me now. A pimp named Slickback. No. Target exclusive. Oh, Jesus. And in honor of my good buddy Evil Villain, motherfucking Psylocke versus Thanos Tupac. Brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, who will remain fine folks, despite the fact that, hot take, I think the Psylocke figure is just a little overrated. Now, before you break out your pitchforks and torches and treat me like Frankenstein's monster, because Frankenstein's the name of the doctor, not the monster. Leave me alone, Migo comments section. Hear me out. When Hasbro revealed the Outback version of Psylocke for that box Build-A-Figure wave, one thought came to my mind. Why didn't you just give a sword and sash to the Gamerverse version and call it a day? It would have cost you way less money. You already have the parts tooled. And that would have been a much more fitting version of the character to go with our Jim Lee X-Men. Which at the end of the day, let's not kid ourselves. We love our giant-sized X-Men, and our Outback X-Men, and our Uncanny X-Men, and our X-Factors, and our X-Forces, and our New Mutants, and blah-de-blah-de-blah. But at the end of the day, the only X-Men team that really freaking matters is the Jim Lee X-Men. Alright, can we all agree on that? I myself like astonishing, but let's not deny the facts. Fact is, Jim Lee X-Men is the end-all be-all X-Men, no questions asked. Why Hasbro chose not to save a lot more money and just put a sash and a sword with this version of Psylocke in that box Build-A-Figure wave, probably sell more units? Don't know. Why they didn't decide to pull a Rolling Stones and paint it black and make it the X-Force version to go with some of the stuff we got last year? Don't know. But if you want this 2-pack, it is a lot easier to get nowadays than it was back when it was released. I never saw this in my area, truth be told, but then again, whoever runs my Target seems to have something against figures and collectibles because they just seem to have less and less every time I go there. No BS, during Haulathon, they shrunk the collector section when in fact they should have expanded upon it with Super Grover and Ninja Turtles that looked like they were fresh from the retirement home. And a Samurai Rabbit. But I digress. So, rants, side tangents, and raves aside, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all motherfucking Psylocke and Thanos have to offer in terms of accessories. Starting off with Psylocke, who is clearly the one that Hasbro favored in this set. She's got the whooshy finger hold hands. Or the unspread peace symbol. And these hands are meant specifically for these effect pieces that you can slot in like that. And they sit at a bit of an angle, which is kind of weird. But showing you the other one. They are in fact different, but they do look the same. And not for nothing, resident Psylocke expert of the channel, Evil Villain, told me how these work. So if I did this wrong, you can go after him with the pitchforks and torches. But I'm going to warn you, he's got like a pipe wrench or something, so he's not going down without a fight. But needless to say, Good old Psylocke here was a master of spinjitzu before Lego Ninjago was ever a thing, so there you go. Other than that, she does have an open hand. One open hand. Which, personally, I would have ditched this for, like, an open hand for Thanos. Because he only gets the snapping finger hand, which is basically a fatality in the Marvel Universe. Because as soon as Psylocke tried to whip out some spinjitzu, he'd just do this and she'd disappear in the dust. So, not a very fair fight, if you ask me. That said, we do get the psychic knife and her beautiful butterfly psychic power effect for her head there. I will probably keep her with these. I always use these with the other versions. And then we have a windswept head that's not quite so happy to be here, but too bad, I got you fair and square, so deal with it, lady. That said, I'm actually going to make you suffer through this. We will look at Thanos first, because, let's face it, he's the one nobody cares about. Alright, even though he's not a bad figure, and he's got some decent, like, new tooling going on. I believe the chest piece is new. The head is obviously new because he's got the Wolverine spikes sticking off his mask there. The glove cuffs might be new, and the boots might be new. I am not sure. I don't have the old one out, and the belt might also be new. But as far as his articulation goes, he can look up and down a little bit. He can tilt side to side a little bit and rotate. Would have been nice to get an alt head where he wasn't, you know, rocking this shite-eating grin, because, well, if you're fighting anybody, I would think you wouldn't be so happy about it to where, I don't know. This is the face collectors make when they find this 2-pack in the store on clearance. Either way, his shoulders will kick out to the side, back down, rotate, forward and back, and make creaky noises. Oh, I think I popped some glue off there. That's interesting. Yeah, this side's not lifting up quite as much. I think I might have knocked some glue loose doing that. It's not doing it on the other side. Weird. Everything's fine, but alright. Gotta make sure, because I'm sending this Thanos to my good buddy Evil Villain, because he was kind enough to send me his way back when, because we didn't know if I was ever going to get this set. He does have a bicep swivel. He's got a hinge swivel elbow, swivel hinge wrists, complete with knuckle dusters. Can't go wrong with some knuckle dusters. Ab crunch goes forward about that far, back about that far. Yeah, you're not getting much of anything out of that. His waist will rotate. Now his hips are stiffer than a dog, because when I got the Thanos from Evil Villain, the hips were already like worked out. And this guy's weren't, and holy crap, I see what he meant by the fact that they were stiff as heck, but kicking back and forth is fine. I already saw kicking out was about that far. Thigh cut, double knee, hinge in the foot with a rocker, and of course peg holes at the bottom of the feet. No boot swivel, but does he need it? I would say yes, but he didn't put it in there for whatever reason. Probably because they're cheap. That said, moving him out of the way, he's fine. It's Thanos. Popped my flight stand off camera there. Now we have Psylocke. Good old Psylocke. I get why a lot of people like this figure. It is a decent sculpt. To Hasbro's credit, she has a massive badonkadonk. Like, I thought everyone was exaggerating. No, she's got a bigger arse than your boy, so, I mean, that's not saying much. My arse is a flat slab with slits in it, but that's beside the point. She also has decent-sized chesticles, too. But I'm not going to sit here and goon over her like most middle-aged men who have a wife or a girlfriend would, because I have a girlfriend slash friend with benefits to goon over. That's an actual person, so, you know, take that for what you will. But as far as her articulation goes, spoiler alert, I put soap in the biceps. Those are way too tight for my liking. I was a little worried trying to get them off, too. They're kind of stiff. So, be careful with that. I wouldn't go too hard with that. If it doesn't come off, don't force it off. You don't want to tear the peg. But both of them are pretty freaking butter smooth now. So I don't have to worry about that, thankfully. But as far as her head goes, she can look down. She can't look back, like, at all. She can look side to side. She's got a bit of a ball joint in the neck. Her shoulders will pop out about that far. She's got that beautiful butterfly that'll swing back and forth. Rotate all the way around. I already showed you the biceps. Those work fine. This side's a little tighter because it was a little tighter. Out of package. It is what it is. Double jointed elbow. Swivel hinge wrist. This one actually has the... Does it? Should. Thought I had it working the other day. There you go. It has the appropriate hinge for holding stuff, so that's cool. While this one has the up and down hinge. And the kind of two finger hands, they have a hinge like the grip hand as well. So, there's that. I mean, not for nothing. They give you this open hand. I would have preferred a fist for this side. If you're going to have anything. Diaphragm joint, can't really lean forward because of her boobages. It's not doing much of anything. Leaning back, also not doing much of anything. Rotation is fine. Tilt is not much of anything, so this diaphragm joint is pretty crap. Actually, it leans side to side better than it does forward and back. You gotta push it a little bit. Jack, go push it! Anyone remember stab kicks? No, just me. Ab crunch actually works, but I've never been a fan of these, so is that really a good thing? I don't know. It doesn't look atrocious, though. I'll give them that. It doesn't have a bunch of gaps and junk. Actually looks like they cut it well. Hips can kick up that high. Almost a full split. Not quite. Kick forward, about that high. Kick back, not at all, because of obvious reasons. 2 obvious reasons. She's got a thigh cut, that'll spin all the way around. It's cut a little lower on the leg to match up with her boot cut. I would have preferred if it was at this strap here. Just so it's closer to a traditional thigh cut. But that's just me. Double jointed knee works fine. And then a hinge in the foot with a rocker joint and, of course, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So, again, it's a fine figure. But I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like she's a little bit overrated. Just a little bit. Giving her her psychic knife. And then this frickin' butterfly thing is kind of a pain in the butt. You gotta get it up and around the hair. That went on way smoother just now than it did off camera. Off camera, this thing did not want to go on. But there you go. That's how I will display mine for now. Until I find her a sword and possibly a sash, because I can heat them hips up and pop a sash over that. Badonk-a-donk, but it's funny. I initially thought she was missing that And I was going to have to make a phone call, but no, this version doesn't have that for whatever freaking reason. I guess it was hard to animate in pixels, which I guess, yeah, it would be. But they gave Blackheart all of his hair. I don't know. Either way, there's the 2-pack. It's fine. Like, if you wanted these characters, the Thanos, I don't think there's anything wrong with him at all, other than a lack of accessories. And Psylocke, it's way better than any version of Psylocke we've ever had before. There is no debate about that. I'm not saying that, but I do think just because it's Psylocke, it's a little overrated. Because, let's not kid ourselves, Psylocke is like a B to C list character, tops. She's not like a Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, etc. But everyone's got a hard-on for this character, and it's kind of uncomfortable to watch. So, you know, I'm just saying. The only one who gets a free pass with that's Evil Villain, because, well, he knows how to have this thing called self-control. Before we wrap this very controversial review up, why don't we bring in our 2 regulars? Got the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith right here, as well as the infamous 11 Spawn, who is about neck and neck with good old Thanos there. I wasn't expecting that, but well, he might not be towering over everyone today. He's towering over one and is about eye to eye with the other. So, what does that tell you? Tells you for $20, good old Al Simmons still delivers, even in 2026. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and while I must admit that good old Psylocke from this very 2-pack is a definite upgrade from the previous releases, and let's be fair, it is no contest. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this figure is maybe, just maybe, a little overrated. And before you bust out the pitchforks, hear me out. First and foremost, we don't get her sword. Yes, I know she doesn't use it in the game, but it is her signature weapon, at least for me. And we also do not have the sash that she is known for having, particularly during the Jim Lee X-Men era. And while I know she doesn't have that in the game either, I can't help but feel that eventually the fine folks over at Hasbro are going to grow a brain cell and re-release this figure either in a Build-A-Figure wave or in a retro card wave. Give her the sword, give her the sash, give her both heads, the psychic knife, and her psychic ability that clicks onto the head. And we're all going to buy it again, and this one is going to fade into the back of our memories. Because it is the only Psylocke we have that looks anywhere close to how she looked in the Jim Lee X-Men run. Still puzzled as to why that Outback X-Men version is a thing in that box Build-A-Figure wave. But I digress. Other than that, my only major gripe with the set is that Thanos does not have a disgruntled or more irritated looking head sculpt. Because while Psylocke's smacking him across the face, he's got this shite-eating grin going. And I can only assume that most people, especially non-single men in their 30s and 40s, would probably do the same if Psylocke smacked them in the face. So, there's that, I guess. So that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.